Hi and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Diana and I am trying to connect the dots between different areas of knowledge, including shadow work, alchemy, naturopathy, herbalism, psychology, and everything that helped me heal in the last 8 years. Today we're going to talk about generational healing, and I'm starting a mini sequence in the series because just like this with the skin, there is so much to be said. I want to focus on different points. Today the video is going to be focused on the introduction to generational healing and also on the feminine wound and the mother wound, the wound of the feminine lineage. Generational healing is very complex. It's not just about facts. We are not talking about science here. There is a lot of science included, of course, just such as epigenetics and the way that the genes influence our life and the way that the lives of our ancestors influence the way that our genes are expressed. When I was in university, while I was studying biochemistry, I remember the pages of the book that I was reading. It wasn't about an experiment that is nowadays very famous, I believe, or maybe it's just one of the many experiments in this area. But it was about mice. There were two groups of mice. One of the groups were pregnant mice that were they were exposed to a lot of stress factors, hunger, danger. They were the conditions that they were living in were very unfavorable. And the other group of the mice were pregnant mice, which were very spoiled, so to say. They had enough food, they had shelter, they had the right temperature, they were safe, they were secure, everything was perfect. The conditions for the pregnancy and the life conditions were perfect. The generation that came out of this pregnancy, and also the generations that came from these baby mice, were very different. The baby mice had a lot of muscle. Their brain was not as developed as the other group. I don't remember the exact facts, but the other group of the mice with the better conditions, the babies were less physically strong, but their brains were a lot better developed. The conclusion was that the babies, which were born from a mother that had to survive, that had to struggle to survive, that felt unsure, that was unsafe, were born with a genetic expression that allowed them to fight, that allowed them to survive, that made them better survivors in bad physical conditions. There are also a lot of studies nowadays that show that the pregnancy of our grandmother influences our life. First of all, because the genes were given to our mother and she gave us to us, and I'm talking about the grandmother, the mother of our mother. But also the baby girl is born with all of her egg cells. They are not developed, but they are in the ovaries already. So which means that while our grandmother was pregnant, the mother of our mother, we were in her body as a cell. 50% of our genetic material was already in her body and was influenced, the information was influenced by the conditions that she was living in, by the levels of stress that she was in. Was she in survival mode? Probably yes, because we know how women before us were living. Was she happy? Was she loved? Was she celebrated? Did she know how to take care of herself during pregnancy? All of that influences us. The other huge part of generational healing is not just the DNA material that we carry, because we can't change DNA. We can change the way DNA is expressed. Our environment, this is what epigenetics is about, the way that our environment influences our gene expression. When it comes to the spiritual side of generational healing, we come into families that represent the lesson that we need to learn, or we have karmic relationships. Karmic relationships doesn't always, and karmic bonds and ties doesn't always mean a negative. Your mother could have been your child in a previous life. I know how strange it sounds, but it is what it is. These connections exist. So generational healing, again, is not easy to explain. I'm only sharing with you what I've learned. It doesn't mean that what I'm going to say is going to be the ultimate truth or that I know it all. No matter what karma our family has, it's aligned with our own personal karma, and this is why we are born into this family. The wounds that this generational line carries aligns with our soul wounds. We are born into this family. We have our childhood wounding, which is to the most part inevitable, because we are basically one of the first generations that is teaching themselves how to heal and how to break the cycle for our children on a mass level, I'm saying. But we are born into this family. We have specific childhood wounding. Our natal chart represents the archetypes and the circumstances that we are meant to embody, and free will is we have the free will to choose how to react to our circumstances. We have the power to change and to shift our perspective. But life circumstances are not something that we can influence. This is influenced by the way that our karma and our past lives have developed. We cannot escape who we have been. We cannot escape, in the future, we will not escape who we are now. We are born into a family, we have the childhood wounding, then we start healing in the best case scenario. This is what I wanted to say. We become aware of the wounding, and we start using the wounding to become a better person. As I said in a previous video, there is childhood wounding that alters the brain. We can develop, we can change, we can use nervous system regulation, we can use subconscious programming, we can use all the tools that are available to us. But when we face a situation which awakens that wounding, we react primally. We react out of that programming, and it's hard. It's very uncomfortable, because this is why you might have a lot of progress and then something happens and you suddenly realize that you go back to the same old wounding, because your nervous system brings you back to the moment of trauma, because it's wired in the brain. Your brain structures have been influenced by that on a physical level. It's not just a physical, it's not just a spiritual work. Thank God we have neuroplasticity. Thank God we have somatic exercises, we have somatic work, we have nervous system regulation, we have meditation, we have a lot of tools that help us rewire the nervous system physically. We have EFT tapping, we have a lot of tools that help us get better. But to erase completely what we were, the programming that was installed in our brain, not just by the parents, but also by society, I don't know if that's possible. I wish it was, but I would say that it takes a lot of lifetimes to become pure and clear, to clear all of that from our system, because our DNA also carries information beyond our parents' DNA. While I was in university, we were studying that only 21%, I'm not sure about it was 21 or 22, but only about 21% of DNA is, it codes for proteins, because this is what DNA does. Our DNA codes get translated into proteins, and these proteins build the structures in our body. But only 21% of that is known. The rest it's not clear what it does. And you know what, when it comes to the spiritual awakening, unlocking old DNA codes is a part of the awakening. Unlocking soul codes, star codes, so codes from other star systems that we might have been into. If you know, you know. But coming back to generational healing. Generational patterns. So generational healing can be seen as breaking and rewiring generational patterns that were passed on for generations. These patterns are bound and connected to beliefs. These beliefs shape our perspective, they shape the way we view life, they shape the way we view ourselves, they limit or expand us, and to the most part, they limit us. Life on earth is not easy.
And people have a lot of limiting beliefs in every area of life, because older generations especially, they have been through wars, they have been through poverty, they have been through famine, they have been through terrible things, they have been through violence, they have been through loss, they have been through terrible political systems. They carry a lot of pain. And we are privileged enough to have access to information. We are privileged enough to have access to the tools that can help us break these patterns, but they didn't have. And I'm not saying that it means that what they did was okay, and that the trauma that they created was okay, and they have no fault. But judging is the easy part. The hard part is trying to understand where it came from and trying to just uproot it. It's hard. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work to see the pattern, to recognize it, to acknowledge it. One of the hardest parts is that if you choose, or if you were chosen, or you came into this lineage to break these patterns, and most of the family you're the only one that has been assigned with that job, so to say, you're going to face so much resistance. You're going to face mockery, maybe even violence, maybe even abuse, rejection, abandonment, gaslighting. It's going to be hard. Being the generational curse breaker or the black sheep of the family is one of the hardest things to do, because the family is supposed to be our sanctuary. We are supposed to be the most embraced, welcomed, valued, appreciated there, because the world is harsh. The world is not a very beautiful place sometimes, and we are supposed to find home and to find shelter within the family, but it's not always the case. And for many people, it's definitely not the case. And the family is the source of pain, not the shelter. When it comes to the feminine wounding, maybe I won't do another video about this, because the introduction took a lot of time already. But one of the biggest problems that women nowadays have is the centuries, thousands of years even, of repression, violence, pain, abuse, dehumanization, devaluing, all kinds of persecutions. You know what happened in the witch trials, and we carry that, especially women with spiritual gifts. It's hard to start embracing those gifts, because you all the time you have this feeling of not just being persecuted, not just, oh, people are going to reject me for my belief. That's not even the problem. You fear death. You fear violence. You fear for your life. You fear for your safety, for your survival, because you carry not just the generational pain, but also the soul. It has been imprinted in our soul, especially if you have been here before and you have these gifts. It's hard. It's painful. It takes a lot of work to get out of this survival and to show up in the world as who you truly are, with your gifts, with your bigness, with your expression, with your passion, with your empathy. I have suffered from my empathy so many times, because people look at you and think that you are stupid. They look at you and think that you are naive, spineless, weak, and the whole time you're just understanding them. It hurts. And another huge problem for women is that we are not initiated into womanhood by our mothers and grandmothers. Most women remain maiden, they remain girls to the rest of their life. They die girls mentally, psychologically. Their psyche is the psyche of a girl. They are not developed. They stay, especially women before us that never had the chance to develop beyond survival. So many young women have been groomed. They have been married as teenagers, literal babies, 20-year-old, 13-year-old. They are stuck there. They don't grow. They remain trapped in their in that period of their life forever, and it's painful because we don't we don't really have on a mass level enough feminine support, because we are taught to be ashamed of that. Again, the moment we express that, we get punished. Female sexuality gets punished, female expression gets punished, having a strong voice gets punished. Who do you think you are? Oh, you know it all. Oh, the men don't like smart women. And the problem is not always the men. I have met a lot of women that try to break me down. It's not always the man, it's the system. And this is one of the first initiation of a woman is her first bleeding. It's supposed to be celebrated. You become a woman now. You can bleed. The bleeding is one of the most powerful gifts we women have. And I'm going to focus a lot when it comes to the womb healing, because it's a divine gift. We clear ourselves, we purify ourselves, we release so many emotions every month. We have that chance to do it. We have that gift, and that I'm going to talk about. Our blood has stem cells. It improves wound healing. It's powerful. And what we are taught to be ashamed, to hide. Free bleeding, what is that? Women are literally disgusted by their bleeding and by their womb, and no. Women have been taught to be disgusted by their bleeding, to deny their power. And it's so subtle. It looks so normal. What is disgusting about feminine bleeding? Nothing. What the most disgusting about it is the products that we got, that we are sold. So I'm going to talk about it again in another video, but find reusable pads, find Diva cups or whatever. Don't use the mainstream products, feminine hygiene products. They are not good for you. Try free bleeding. Try connecting to that feminine power, because this is one of the keys to healing generational wounding. You know how they say, oh, being a girl's girl. No. It's time that we become a woman's woman. The girl is it's an immature archetype. The girl cannot become a real mother. She cannot become a real sister. The girl is still stuck in her fantasies. The girl is in her dreamland. She refuses to take responsibility to face reality for what it is. The girl cannot heal the world. She is too afraid to face the world. She is too afraid to see that the world bites. From that archetype was one of the most painful things in my life, because again, I had to let go of being idealistic. I had to let go of seeing only the good in people. I had to let go of just being immersed in my fantasy worlds, in my art, in my creations, thinking that I can change the world and that everything is going to be fine as long as I'm closing my eyes for certain aspects. It's also as long as I am not seeing some traits in people. No. At this point of my life, I see people for who they are. I might choose to have tolerance for some things, but for the most part, I don't have any tolerance at all. You show me who you are, I believe you, and I go. I don't have time to see the good in you. I don't have the time to heal you. I don't want to engage with the toxicity and the darkness that you choose. That's none of my business. That's your business. So another part of generational healing for women is the role of the victim and the role of I have no power to change anything, and that this is what it is. I get crazy when older women tell me that. It is what it is. You have to choose from what you have. Too high standards will get you nowhere. You will remain single forever. This is how the world is. And again, I'm not talking about changing the world. I'm talking about choosing what to allow in my world. The men, the women, the friendships, the relationships, the co-workers, the jobs. I used to settle for everything because everyone was telling me, but this is how the world is. But this is what it is. People are that. People are this. Yes, they are, but I have choice. I can go. I am not bound to a workplace, to a job, to an education, to people, men, again, any sort of relationship. I am not bound to anything. I am loyal to this heart. I'm loyal to God and this heart. And if someone shows me that they are not meant to be in my life, I release you with all the love that I have, but I'm leaving. And it took, I don't know how many times of literally laying on the floor crying, feeling the disrespect, the malice, how much I was allowing. People pleasing is another huge part of feminine wounding, generational wounding, because the women have been taught to be silent, to agree, to bite our tongue. I'm not saying that it's hard, and I'm not saying that I'm this fierce woman and everything in my life, I have the strongest boundaries. No, I still flop. I still see myself allowing things that I don't like just because I'm afraid to speak up in the way I want. As a teenager, I had a very big mouth. It got me into trouble. And over time, I learned to diminish myself, to make myself smaller. Now I'm returning back. But I have a lot of moments when I'm still biting my tongue. It's a process. The healing is not something, we are not meant to romanticize healing. Healing is painful. Healing takes work, a lot of uncomfortable work, a lot of years of working on the same pain with the same issue over and over again on many different levels. It's a spiral. It's not a straight line, A to B, and now, woo, I'm a winner. I hear that. It's not a badge that you put on your shirt. And again, my knowledge is very limited because it's endless. This void is endless. And it's not just about knowledge. I always keep repeating that. It's about what you embody from that knowledge, what you apply in your life. Knowing is easier. Reading is easier. Acquiring the knowledge, not so hard. To apply the knowledge, to be there, to embody it, to sit with the uncomfortable pain, with the shame. A huge part. Shame. We have been taught that shame is our second nature. We have been shamed out of our power for generations. To sit with the shame, to feel it in your body, in every how it makes you want to contract yourself, how it makes your muscles stiff, how it makes you when you are in public and you're like, oh, let me no, I don't want to say that, I don't want to wear that dress, I don't want to have this. It's in every fiber of our body. This shame is taught. It's learned. This is not who we are. Beyond all of these masks and layers, we are unconditional love, all of us. I'm not saying that you should look at people and see only the good in them again. Don't do that. But it's just the knowing. It makes life easier. It makes life, it helps you go on, in spite of the pain that you go through, in spite of everything that happens to you. It helps you go on. So this is for today. Thank you for being here. And if you like my content, if you resonate with my channel, I would be very happy if you support it. It would help it grow, and it will help the message reach other people. I also post a lot of herbalism videos and recipes on my Patreon. I also post on different topics, and if you're interested in that, you can go and check it. I also have journals that I'm working on, and I'm going to post them one by one when the time comes. I hope to see you next time.